Duke Eclipse presents the Horror Hideout podcast, a podcast covering everything horror, including books, comics, and movies. Presented by Dawson Duke and Kayla Bullock.
Hello, welcome to episode 8 of Horror Hideout.
I'm Kayla.
And I'm Dawson.
And today we will be discussing the 2022 movie The Menu.
Which is probably the most mainstream movie we've covered so far, except maybe 30 Days a Night.
And it is a very different kind of horror.
Yes. A lot of people even question if it is horror.
I think it is.
It is. I 100% think it is. And I don't know why so many people think it's not. I don't know if it's because there's no, jump scares or anything in it. It's just very... I don't know. It's different than what people, I think, expect.
Yeah. I think part of the reason I like it so much is because I always wanted to be a chef, and so you got chef and a horror movie together.
Well, and, me and you both love cooking shows. I grew up watching them with you, and there's a lot of that in there with, the way the dishes are presented and stuff. Okay, so basically, spoiler-free, the movie follows presumably a couple that go to an island to have a experience. It's not just about the food, it's about the whole experience. Right. And so it's this exclusive restaurant on this island that there's a long wait list for, and you have to pay a lot of money to get there. And so it's basically we follow those two main, the two main characters is that couple that I was talking about, and it's really the girl. And then we meet a colorful cast of other characters. So there's one guy that's kind of
Well, we can do that when we get into because I've got notes.
Okay. So anyway,
there's 11 people.
Yes. And basically crap hits the fan, and that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
That's about all we can say.
Yeah.
There's a lot of twists and turns in this movie.
Yes.
And it will blow your mind the first time you watch it.
And I had no idea how this one was going to end the first time I watched it. So, if you haven't watched it, go watch it, come back, listen to the rest of our review, because we're going to get down to it.
Yep.
Pretty quick. So, the couple that Dawson mentioned are played by Anya Taylor-Joy, and her name is Margot. And then we've got Nicholas Hoult, who is Tyler. And the movie opens with Margot and Tyler standing on a boat dock waiting on a boat to come. And
they're in a line.
Tyler's giving her heck about smoking because he said it ruins her palate.
Yes.
And so I feel like this would be a good time to just kind of run through who everybody is.
Yes.
So we've got the two of them. They're a young couple.
And I do want to say this. We find out here that Margot is not who Tyler was originally going to bring. So it seems like Tyler had a breakup and Margot...
We don't find that out till they get to the island.
Elsa...
I thought it was in Elsa.
It's the list.
Right, which is when Elsa... They're checking in on the island after they do the boat ride.
Are you sure?
Mm-hmm. Positive.
Okay. Well, because I know Elsa makes a comment later, you'll be sitting in Miss whatever her name is. C.
Sure.
Yes, I know that's
check
after.
In on the island, they do the tour, and then they go north.
Okay.
So it's not yet. But we do find out that he was supposed to go with somebody else,
yes.
Miss Westervelt. So we've got the two of them. We have Bryce, Dave, and Soren, who are three corporate, for lack of a better word, douchebags.
They're finance bros.
Yes, and they're very much bros. They're just annoying and obnoxious. We have George, who is I had the word for it, what's that word?
Movie
Washed
star?
up movie star, has been movie star. And he is with his assistant, Felicity.
Yes. And these two are some of the best characters in the movie.
I don't know how to say his last name, the guy that plays George, but I like him.
What's his name?
John Leguizamo. I don't know.
Do you have it in your notes?
No, I didn't write his down. And then we have Lillian, who is a food critic. And Ted, who is kind of like her whipping boy.
It's kind of her enabler.
Yeah, he just kind of follows her around and agrees with everything she says.
It basically seems like he's kind of like a bounding board, except he's just like a yes man.
Yeah.
Very
much so.
She says what she's thinking to him, and he basically just parrots it back.
Right. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they ever explain who Richard is. To me, I got kind of a politician vibe from him.
They don't ever say that I remember, but yeah, he's some kind of rich elite.
To me, he looks like a politician. I don't know why that's what I thought, but we meet
Probably
Richard.
because there's a lot of politicians that have affairs.
Yeah. Well, we meet Richard and his wife Anne, and they are an older couple.
Yes.
And so this is our group for the exclusive dinner on Hawthorne Island.
Yes.
Or is it Hawthorne? Yeah, Hawthorne Island. One thing I saw was that somebody involved, I think it was the writer of the movie, had actually went to a restaurant on called Willow's Inn, and it was only accessible by a ferry, so that kind of gave him the start for this idea. But while they're standing there waiting for the boat to come, this is when Tyler mentions to Margot that it was $1,250 a plate, or a person, not a plate, because it's a 10-course meal, but it's $1,250 a person. And Margot says something about the size of the boat, and he said, well, yes, it's only 12 people max.
Yeah. And isn't this the first time we see Richard and Margot kind of share a look?
Yes.
Like a knowing look.
So Margot sees him, and she's kind of like, oh, crap, and just kind of, I don't know if he sees her there.
I thought he did.
I'm not sure he does.
Okay.
But he may, but I'm not sure he does.
At least Margot sees.
Right,
yeah.
She just kind of turns away. And just throwing this out there, Anya Taylor-Joy is one of my favorite actresses right now. She does such an amazing job in everything she's been in. For some reason, I feel like we talked about her before, because we talked about her being in Split.
Yeah.
But I don't know why we were talking about her.
I don't remember.
But anyway, she's one of my favorites. So anyway...
Did we watch another movie that had another actor from Split in it? James McAvoy?
No, we haven't done one of his yet.
I didn't think so.
I don't remember.
Was it in the podcast, or were you just talking?
No, I think it was in the podcast.
I don't know.
So
you guys can tell us in the comments.
So they get on this boat, and they are headed toward the island, and they get served oysters. But it's not just plain oysters. It's got lemon... I don't even know. I don't think I wrote it down. I didn't write down what they were eating, but something pretty fancy with the oysters. And Margot starts to eat it, and Tyler smacks her hand so he can take pictures of it.
Yeah.
And, she tells him that it's she likes regular oysters better, and he's all offended because she just doesn't understand high-class food.
Yeah. He's very much gatekeeping it. He's like, I understand this food better than anyone. No one knows this food better than me.
Right. So then when they get to the island, this is where Dawson was talking about, we find out, because Elsa, who is kind of the chef's right-hand woman.
Yeah. She's like his assistant.
Kitchen,
yeah, she's
like
not
more...
because we hear about the sous chef later.
Right, like she kind of runs the restaurant, kind of like a restaurant manager is kind of what I get.
She also kind of serves as a waitress at some parts.
Yeah. So they tour the island. They see a guy out in a boat. This island is beautiful. And I love how throughout the movie they show, like each course, they show a different scene from the island. But there's a guy in a boat, and he's harvesting the scallops that they'll eat that night. And of course the corporate guys are just being buttheads to him and telling him to harvest faster. And
very entitled.
They see the smokehouse that the beef has to be smoked for, I don't remember what it was, 264 days exactly or something. And then she takes them through and shows them, which I thought this was kind of odd, but she shows them their quarters, like where the employees live, and it's like kind of puts you in the mind of a military barrack.
I think it's supposed to be cult-like.
Right.
I think that's the point.
Right.
This, I'll just say this now while we're talking about it. This movie came out on the anniversary of Jonestown.
Which I think is insane.
Yeah.
But
there is a lot of cult imagery in it.
It's kind of military, like all the beds, the men and women sleep in the same room.
There's no walls, it's just all open.
Right. Except for Chef, and he has a house, and this is when we're told that nobody sees inside Chef's house, even the staff. But one thing I wanted to mention that Elsa tells them, because somebody says something about why they live on the island or something. She says, our day starts at 6 a.m. with 5 hours of prep work. We harvest, we ferment, we slaughter, we marinate, we liquefy, we spirify, we gel. And I just think that she was able to say, like, this restaurant is their whole life.
Yeah. And it's more, we haven't met him yet, but Chef Slowick is kind of their whole life.
Right. And she tells them at this point that dinner is usually 4 hours and 25 minutes long. So, I mean, you're like Dawson said, you're talking an experience, not a meal.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a full-on experience. So then they go into the restaurant and get sat, and this is when Elsa says that she'll be sitting in Miss Westervelt's seat.
Yes.
And
And we'll learn more about the relationship between Margot and Tyler later in the movie.
Yes. So they get sat down, and the door on the restaurant is kind of cool because I don't know how you would really explain it without visual, but it kind of like, I don't know, like swings, but the hinges are in the middle.
Yeah.
So there's really no way for the people to get out unless they let them out.
Yeah.
And the dining room has the tables for everybody, and then in the corner there is an older woman sitting, who we find out later on is Chef Slowick's mom.
Yes.
And the back wall behind everybody is completely glass, so they can see the water, which comes into play later on. Big fireplace in there, and of course the kitchen's all open so they can see what all the chefs are doing.
Reminds me of Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah. He's not quite as mean as Gordon Ramsay, though.
He does remind me of Gordon Ramsay, though.
Yeah.
In some aspects.
Yeah. He demands perfection, so...
Yeah. He's a lot more snooty than Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah. So they get their... I put it was the first course, but they don't really call it the first course.
The island.
But it's cucumber melon with milk snow and charred lace. And I thought it was kind of cool at this part. You kind of get to know a little bit of everybody's personalities. Lillian is just like, everybody's done snow. It's so overdone. And just kind of putting down the whole restaurant experience. And remember, she's a food critic. But as we go through the meal, we see like different characteristics of all the different people.
I don't think we find out here, but I think we find out later. She was personally texted and invited specifically to be here.
Yes.
So she has a very...
And she's also the one that helped him get started.
Yeah.
In the
she gave a good review of his restaurant.
Right. But so then the chef gives a speech, and he tells them that food is art on the edge of the abyss.
Yes. And Tyler seems like he's like eating everything up that the chef is saying.
Yeah.
Excuse my pun.
And he's really like, he's offended because I don't think Margot eats anything.
Margot does not eat anything.
But Tyler keeps taking pictures of them. So Elsa had told them at the beginning they could not take photographs. And Tyler's taking pictures of every dish.
Yeah. Very blatantly, like openly. Like he's not trying to hide it either.
Yeah. Tyler just doesn't really give a crap for the entire movie what they're told or what's going on.
Yeah.
He just wants the food.
And he wants to hear what Slowick is saying.
Right.
It's like he worships Slowick.
Right. So at this point, Slowick comes out and he gives them a speech about do not eat. Like, don't eat my food. Taste it, savor it, relish it, but do not just eat my food. And he is very... I don't know, you can just tell from the beginning he's very jaded by people, and he doesn't seem to have a lot of joy in what he's doing anymore. But I thought, so he says, at this point he also says, I have a lot of quotes in here just because some of the things he says are kind of deep. What happens in this room is meaningless compared to what happens in nature, in the soil, in the water, in the air.
Yeah, but it's also very hypocritical, a lot of the stuff he says here, because he says all that, but, like, they have changed the island to serve the needs of the restaurant. Like, they have the chicken coop and all that outside. So, he says that, but he's not even really respecting nature.
Right.
And
we
a lot of the stuff he says is very hypocritical.
We didn't mention this, but he is played by Ralph Fiennes, and he does a phenomenal job in this movie.
Who plays Voldemort.
Yeah. Which is weird. Just shows his talent to be able to go from there.
Yeah.
So, the second course that we have is one scallop on rocks from the shore of the island with plants placed around the rocks.
And it's all stuff from the island.
And it's semi-frozen, lightly frozen, so that as the seawater melts, it adds flavor to it.
Yeah.
But one thing I saw when I was looking up this was that all of the background chefs and everything are actors, but they actually trained intensely for like 2 weeks to learn how to do that and to be so in sync with each other.
Yeah, and the woman that trained them, there was a woman that trained them in like the chef stuff, like the kitchen stuff, and she also, I don't know what it's called. What is that called? Like advising, but not, there's another word. I don't know. She was like a really popular chef, or like a good chef, and she like advised the creators of the movie about a lot of this
okay.
stuff.
So throughout the whole movie, we kind of get different glimpses of the people that are in the restaurant, and
And they're all pretty unlikable.
yeah, except for Margot. I do like Margot and Elsa. I like Elsa a
Yeah.
lot. But George is the has-been actor, and him and Felicity are at a table, and she's talking about the travel food show he wants to pitch, and she's like, "Well, how are you gonna do it?" And he's like, "I'm gonna eat the food and then talk about it."
Yeah.
She's like, "Well, how does it taste?" And he's like, "Good, it's really good." And she's like, "You gotta give us more than that," which I thought was kind of like, how many has-been actors now do things
like
cooking
reality shows. Yeah.
or I love him, but Mario Lopez, who played Slater in Saved by the Bell, he hosted a show on the Pet Network
Yeah.
forever. I mean, just, kind of a.
Yeah, a lot of actors end up as like game show hosts.
Right, yeah. So, I just thought that was kind of ironic. Like, not ironic, but,
Yeah.
There's a lot of, things true to life in this movie that I think they're kind of blatantly in your face.
Um, it's not talked about here, but the movie he was in that was like a bad movie that they talk about later. Did you know it was actually originally supposed to be Daniel Radcliffe,
Mm-hmm.
and the movie he was going to be in was Victor Frankenstein?
Yes.
It was his role as Igor
Yeah.
in Victor Frankenstein.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did read that.
Yeah. So anyway,
I don't think he would have pulled it off as well as George did.
the actor does a really good job.
Yeah. So then they bring out the second course. And the second course is a breadless bread plate.
Yeah, so it's all spreads.
And it's like, I mean, you've got a plate and it's just little dollops of different kind of, I don't know, dips.
Yeah.
And the chef talks about how bread is the food of the pauper and that they're not paupers. They're basically too rich for bread. So he gives them a breadless bread plate.
So then the finance bros like flag down Elsa, and they're like,
before you get into that, because I know you really want to talk about that, but the emulsion that Lillian has on her plate is broken, and she makes this huge deal out of this broken emulsion. And so the chef sends out this huge bowl of broken emulsion, and Elsa just kind of sits there and says, "Here's some more for you." And one thing I read about that said that that chef did that on purpose because she thinks she's so great. Well, she's the one that got the broken emulsion, so you're not all that great.
I think there's a lot of little stuff like that in
here.
Especially some of the lines that they say when you rewatch, knowing everything that happens later.
It's so fun to dig into these a little bit more, though, because on the surface it's a fantastic movie, but then when you dig in more and figure out all this little stuff, I love it.
Okay, so the finance bros kind of flag down Elsa, and they're like, "Hey, what's his name? Doug Varick is the guy that like owns the restaurant or finances the restaurant, and he
owns the restaurant in the island because chef says that later on.
Yeah. And so they work for him, like directly under him, basically, and so they feel very entitled to everything because they basically pay Slowick's paycheck is how they see it.
Well, and they also mentioned earlier when they first sit down that it's on the company credit card and they don't even have any clients with them. So they're just douchebags.
Yeah. Taking advantage however they can.
Right.
So it's that kind of thing where it's like someone goes in the restaurant and they're like, "Well, we know the manager."
Right.
So they're trying to get Elsa to actually bring them some bread. They're like, "Come on, just bring us some bread," and she won't do it.
And I thought it was funny because I think it's Dave says, "You know who we work with, right?"
Yeah.
And she goes, "No, I know who you work for."
Yeah. Elsa's very snide.
She is, but I like her.
Yeah.
I like her a lot.
She's probably my favorite character in the movie.
Yeah. So she kind of knocks them down a peg, really.
Yeah.
I mean, she's like, "I'm not bringing you bread."
Yeah. And Tyler just like starts digging in.
Yeah.
Of course, he takes pictures first.
And then he asks, "Is this when he breaks the? Is this the course where he breaks the wine glass because he wants hers?"
Probably. I didn't write that down.
Because at one point he climbs across the table to get Margot's dips.
I think.
And Margot's just not. She's just not into
anything.
this. Like
yeah.
This is just not her thing. And one thing about Margot, I love her. I love her character. That dress she wore.
It almost looks like lingerie.
It does. It looks like a slip, like a long one, but it looks like a slip, and it drives me nuts.
I wonder if it's supposed to, because what we learn later.
Yeah, probably, but
I don't know if she even knew what she was doing.
Well, that's true too.
We know what she does, so maybe she didn't even know where she was going or what she was going to be doing.
Maybe, but just wasn't my favorite. And maybe that's part of it. She doesn't fit in with everybody else, and that may be. I mean, that was on purpose, I'm sure.
At one point, does Tyler say, "I'm paying"? Is that later?
I think it's later when he gets mad and calls her a child.
Okay, yeah, it is.
So is that all you wanted to say about the bros?
I think so.
Okay. So then we're on to the third course. And so every course they have in this meal, chef comes out and kind of tells them a story in the background of the dish. And I've talked a whole lot, so I'm going to let Dawson tell you about chef's third course, which was called Memory. And
so
why it was called, like what the basis of this dish is.
So we mentioned earlier that Slowick's mom was here, and this is when it's revealed that that's his mom.
So a couple things about his mom. We see her, and she's kind of in a back corner.
She's by the fireplace.
She's there the whole time, but she's dressed kind of... She's not fancily dressed.
Yeah, she's dressed down.
Yeah, and she never speaks, and she never eats anything. She's just drinking wine the whole time.
Yeah.
So I'll let you get back to the memory.
And she almost looks like she's like in shock or like sickly or something. Like she's not.
She's out of it.
Yeah. And it makes me wonder if she has like something mental.
I wonder if that has something to do with the memory.
I know. That's what I was gonna say. Okay. So anyway, Slowick explains that when he was... Does he say his exact age?
I don't think so.
When he was a kid, his dad was abusive. And his dad attacked his mom by wrapping a phone cord around her throat. And Slowick did the only thing he could, and he stabbed his dad in the thigh with a pair of scissors to get him off her.
Right. And he mentions that he wishes he would have stabbed him in the neck.
I was about to say that. He said if he was older and more experienced, he would have gone for the neck.
Yeah. And I also wonder if she doesn't talk because of this incident. Like maybe he, crushed her vocal cords or something, and that's why she doesn't talk.
Okay. So then they bring out chicken thigh served on a phone cord with scissors stuck in the top.
And it's Taco Tuesday, so it's taco night. So they've got the chicken to be their meat for their tacos.
Yeah. And so they also get tortillas brought out. And Chef Slowick explains that all the tortillas have been personalized, and this is the first time they've used their laser engraver
on food, which I think is so cool.
Yeah.
Like such a cool idea.
And I think he says he hopes they came out okay since it's the first time they've used it.
Yeah. But he says that the Taco Tuesday line that he says was improvised by the chef. That was not in the script.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of improv in this movie because the director just told them to stay in character the whole time, even when cameras weren't rolling.
Right.
And he had cameras rolling basically all the time, and even had angles he didn't.
Yeah, which I think is so cool.
Yeah.
Such a cool way to do a movie. So, and I think it's kind of cool the way the tortillas come out because each person has their own tortillas for each table, and they're homemade tortillas, but they're in this metal thing that kind of folds up and keeps the tortilla shape, and then when they open them, you just kind of pull the metal apart. But Lillian's are all restaurants that she reviewed that have all closed.
Yes.
Tyler's are him taking pictures of the food at the restaurant, which they get into an argument about this because Margot's like, they can't take your picture without permission.
Yeah.
Like, she's kind of ticked that they're doing this to him.
And Tyler doesn't seem like he really cares.
Yeah. Is this when he calls her a child?
Probably.
Is this when she goes to the bathroom? Because that's... Yeah. Okay. So, we'll get to that in a minute. But, George, his tortillas are from his movie that you mentioned, Calling Dr. Sunshine.
Yes. I was going to say, I didn't write the name of the movie down, but yeah. So it was a terrible movie he was in that he regretted being in, and he kind of just did it for the money.
Yeah.
You know what it made me think of?
What?
Bill Murray and Garfield. Mm-hmm. And how he talks about it in Zombieland. Do you have any regrets?
Yeah. So, and then the corporate guys, they are wire transfers of the company.
Yes, they've been stealing money.
They've been stealing money from Mr. Varick.
Yes.
And then Richards are him and his wife, and she's the one going through them, and then there's one of him with another woman.
Yes. And he's like, oh, it's obviously photoshopped, it's obviously fake. Which, honestly, is not a bad excuse. Like, I know, obviously, it's pretty obvious that he did cheat, but it's not a super clear picture.
Yeah.
Like, you can't make out anyone's face or anything.
Well, I mean, and it's on a tortilla. So.
That's what I mean.
So, one of Dawson's favorite parts is the corporate guys.
Yes.
And I'm going to let you talk about that part.
Okay, so...
Before you do, I don't mean to keep interrupting, but Elsa is a smaller Asian woman.
Yes.
Her hair slicked back in a tight bun. She's very proper, very
like the way she walks and moves, the way she holds her hands and everything.
Yeah.
So they again wave her down, and they ask her. They say, "What is this about the tortillas? Like, what's on there? The fact that they've been stealing money and there's evidence of it." And she goes, "Those are tortillas de delicioso," right?
But you have to say it right. She says, "Those are tortillas."
Yeah.
De delicioso.
Yes. So then they go, "No, what is this?" And she says, "They're tortillas," again. And then she says, "Or are you talking about the illegally transferring money to offshore accounts?"
Yeah. But it's just funny, like it's a tension breaker in the movie because she just the way she says tortillas is funny.
And nothing really bad has happened yet.
No.
There's been a lot of build up and a lot of tension, but there hasn't been anything that actually happened.
I think us talking about it, you're not getting that tension because there's
a lot of suspense.
It's kind of built up from the way Chef acts and the way the people like.
And even how Elsa acts.
You're in this room with these other 10 people, and you can't leave. There's no way off of this island. I mean, you are stuck until the boat comes back to get you. But this is where Tyler gets mad at Margot because she wants to send the tortillas back. Yeah. Because they upset Tyler.
And I think Tyler says you can't send stuff back here. And she says, you're the customer. They don't have to like you. Yeah. Is that when she says this?
And then he calls her a child.
Yeah.
And she's like, what did you say to me? You need to apologize right now. So she gets up and goes to the bathroom. And Elsa kind of follows her and is like, can I help you?
And she just says, I'm looking for the bathroom. Right.
And there's a silver door there. Yeah. That comes into play later on.
But and she asks what's behind the door. And
Elsa says something very special, I think is what she says. So Margot goes into the bathroom and she lights up a cigarette and she's just trying to get herself calmed down.
When I was watching this with those two people I told you I was watching it with, you know the song Smoking Out the Window? Mm-hmm. She started singing that.
Oh my gosh. So she's in the bathroom trying to get calmed down and the chef comes in.
Yeah. He knocks first, doesn't he? Or does he just... No, he unlocks it. Yeah.
And
that I thought that was interesting. She locks the door and he comes over and unlocks it and comes in.
Yeah. And so he's like, you haven't touched your food. Why are you not eating?
And he's like, who are you, too?
And he says, when he says, why aren't you eating? She says, you told us not to eat. And he said, that's not what I meant.
Yeah.
So she's just kind of snarky and...
Yeah.
I don't know. And so he's like, you shouldn't be here. You were not supposed to be here. You should not be here. And she's like, please get the fuck out of my way. And she goes back to the dining room.
Okay, so...
Did we miss anything in that scene? I don't think so.
I don't think so. It did make me think of earlier, though, whenever Tyler said the thing about the palate.
Yeah, I know. I thought about that, too, yeah.
So this is the next course, the mess.
Mm-hmm.
And... So, Slowick brings out Jeremy, who, what kind of chef is he?
He's a sous chef.
Is he?
So yeah.
Okay. So Slowick has more than one sous chef?
Yeah.
Okay. So, do you want to say what a sous chef is, in case people aren't familiar?
Kind of the second one in command in the kitchen behind the head chef.
Yeah. So, basically, he has looked up to Slowick his whole life and has strived for greatness, but he will never be as good as Slowick.
And Slowick says he's very good, he will never be great.
Yeah.
And he asks him, do you want my life? Not do you want what I
career,
have,
yeah.
but do you want my life? And Jeremy starts crying and he says no.
And he also says, he gets asked if he's happy with his life, and he says no. And he says chef. He says no chef both times. They always...
And before he comes out, they lay out a tarp on the ground.
Yes. And they put flowers around it, and Lillian says something about it, too. She's like, oh, this is very avant-garde or something.
Yeah.
Like, she says something.
She's very pretentious, and I don't like her.
Yeah. Well, I don't like most people in this movie, and I think that's intentional. So yeah.
I like Felicity.
Yeah.
And one thing we haven't mentioned is a lot of the back and forth between George and Felicity is she's trying to quit her job with him. That's what Dawson mentioned the letter to Sony earlier.
Yeah.
She's leaving to go work for Sony.
I didn't mention that while we were recording.
Oh well. And there's a lot of him telling her you're not
later,
leaving me.
I'm just gonna say it now since we brought it up. Later in the movie, there's an exchange that I really like that I think is really funny that apparently was ad-libbed, where George says, or where Felicity says, I've been stealing money, and George says, I know, I wrote you a negative recommendation letter to Sony. And Felicity says, I know, you CC'd me on it.
And it's so funny, but they're just like...
It's deadpan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, there's no, but...
And again, that's later in the movie,
yeah. But I want to mention throughout the whole thing,
yeah.
He's like, you're not leaving.
Yeah.
You're not leaving me.
George does not want her to leave because he feels like he wouldn't be able to function without her.
Right.
Okay, so back to Jeremy, though. So all that happens, and then Jeremy pulls out a gun and pretty unceremoniously shoots himself. Like, it's very quick. He just pulls it out and does it, and it's over. And everyone starts freaking out. And this is kind of the turning point of the movie.
Yeah.
So everyone's freaking out. Is this when Richard tries to leave?
Yes.
Okay.
So, Richard, who is I look at him as a politician. I don't know for sure, but he looks like a politician.
Well, first...
He tells his wife we're leaving.
Yeah. Well, first let me say this. Like we said, they put, like, the tarp down. It's like a white cloth.
Yeah. It's like plastic.
Yeah.
It's like
plastic. Yeah. It's to keep the blood from going on the floor.
Right.
But, so they do that, then they wrap him up and carry him out. So some people still think it's part of the show. Like, some people don't think it's real. And Tyler seems unbothered, because then they bring out the dish that's called the mess.
Right.
And Tyler's just eating it.
Yeah. And so this dish is veggies with a roasted filet, potatoes confit, beef jus, and bone marrow.
Yes.
And so you've got some kind of rare steak with the bone marrow. With
I was going to say,
bone.
and I thought the bone marrow was very weird, because the only time I have ever heard of people eating bone marrow, I don't know if it's considered a delicacy, the only time I've ever heard of people eating bone marrow in media is when they're desperate for food.
It's a pretty high-end food. Like Gordon Ramsay's restaurants, it's pretty big. Like, you get it. I've never seen it served like they had it. It's usually the bone's cut in half so you can scrape it out with a spoon, but it's pretty high-end.
I didn't know that. Because I genuinely, the only times I've ever heard of people eating bone marrow is like real-world tragedies, like the Donner Party. They found some of the bones were cracked open and the marrow was sucked out, or like media. Yeah. Like in Ashfall, there's a part where there's cannibals and they crack the bones open and suck the marrow out.
It's a delicacy.
I didn't know that.
I'm not sure it's one I want, but you know. So Richard tries to leave, and Elsa steps in front of him, and his wife's like, "Just come sit back down." And he's like, "Don't worry about this. I'll handle it."
Yeah. And Elsa says, "Which hand?"
And he says, "What?" And she says, "With which hand are you going to handle this?"
Left or right?
And then she says, "No, we'll decide for you."
And she chooses left, and she says ring finger. And you know what I think's funny about that? Do you know why we put our wedding rings on our left ring finger?
A direct line to your heart.
Yeah. So, I feel like that would be the worst finger to do first, because I feel like that's the way you're gonna bleed out the quickest.
Yeah. So they chop his ring finger off.
There's like two big guys. Are they some of the chefs, or are they just like...
No, I don't think so, because they're always at the door. If you look in the background, they're always at the... So I think they're more like security. But they cut his finger off. And,
and then later, Elsa comes back, because his ring falls on the floor. His wedding ring does. And Elsa comes over and picks it up and hands it to Anne, the wife, and says, "Here's your husband's ring." And Anne just says, "Thank you." Like...
Yeah, like you can tell she's just kind of in shock. And, But Lillian, she's so conceited. She says all of this is just for her benefit.
She still thinks it's all theatrics. She doesn't think any of it's real.
And it was all for her benefit.
Yes. So then Chef talks to Margot again here.
Yeah, he wants to see her in the kitchen. He tells her she's not part of the plan and she's spoiling everything.
Yeah. Is this when they have the service worker conversation, or is that next time?
That's next time in his office.
Okay. Is this when he sets a timer?
He tells her she has to decide if she's with them or with us or with them.
So he sets a timer for 15 minutes?
Yes. But he tells her, she says something and he says it doesn't matter, we're all going to die tonight.
Yeah. He says, I need to know if you're going to be with the staff or the guests. And she says, and then you'll let me live. And he says, oh, we're all going to die tonight.
Right. Not that it doesn't matter, because to him it does matter.
Yeah.
So she goes back to the table, and Tyler is so ticked off because he thinks she got a special kitchen course.
Yeah.
And he's grilling this poor girl about, what did you get that I didn't get?
Yeah. And he's like, why did you get it and not me?
Right. So then they have a palate cleanser, which is a wild bergamot tea with red clover.
It just looks like a bunch of flowers and water.
Yeah. And somewhere in this next part where all heck's kind of breaking loose, Tyler even asks the chef, like, was that, bergamot in the tea? I mean...
Yeah.
So Dave, at this point, he's one of the corporate guys. He's tired of it, and he takes a chair and he tries to break the window, and it's not breakable.
And I think it's very funny because, like we said, whenever Richard tried to leave, they cut his finger off. But this is such a futile attempt that Elsa just says, let me escort you back to your chair.
And she picks his chair up and carries his chair for him. I kind of think maybe the finger thing had a lot to do with him cheating.
Yeah, I do too.
Like it was a in-your-face kind of thing.
But I also think, because they were heading towards an actual exit, if you just tried to break the window. And so I think also, the other thing too is, with them being like, basically frat guys, is essentially the way they act. I wonder if she's purposely, because she cut off his finger, and then she doesn't punish him, I wonder if she's like emasculating him.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's intentional.
So, after their tea and Dave tries to break the window, Chef comes out and he's talking to everybody. And he talks to Lillian about how she has ruined careers.
Yes.
And to Ted about how he coddles and enables her to do this.
Yeah. Is this when he explains why everyone's here?
Not quite everybody.
Okay.
He asks Richard to name one dish he ate last time he was there, and he can't do it. So
and
he says, you've been here 11 times, name one dish you've had in any course. And Richard can't do it.
And the wife, Anne, says, cod, and he says, it was halibut, you donkey.
And that is actually a direct reference to Gordon Ramsay calling people donkeys.
Does he explain, or does he say anything about, is this when he talks about the movie star?
No.
Why he's here? Okay.
The next part is, he starts talking about Varric being his angel investor.
Yeah. And I do want to mention this. We saw earlier, one of the chefs or someone, it might have been one of the guys that is like by the door, like that kind of guy. We saw someone carrying angel wings outside whenever Margot was in the bathroom smoking her cigarette when she looked out the window.
Which is kind of a creepy scene because it's kind of dark and you see those angel wings go by.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary.
And it's kind of like you don't expect to see anything out the window really.
Yeah.
And then you just see someone moving and it's someone carrying angel wings.
So this is where we find out that Varric owns the island and the restaurant, and the chef considers him his angel investor, is what he calls him.
And one of I don't even remember which one it is. I don't know if it's Soren, Dave, or Bryce, but one of those guys says something about keeping them open through COVID.
Right. Yeah.
So then Chef Slowick gestures, is it to Elsa? And she turns a light on outside. Mm-hmm. One of them, and they turn a light on outside, and we see him, what's his face? We see Varric. We see Varric above the water with angel wings over his arms. Um, and
This
then,
is kind of the first time we really see Chef get any emotion.
yeah,
He says that when Varric has been at the restaurant, he's questioned the menu and requested substitutions, and there are no substitutions at all.
yeah, and he's like screaming this out the window.
Yeah.
Um, and then Elsa does a signal where she like flaps her arms, and they lower him into the water.
And they call it Fallen Angel.
Yes. Do you think? I know he had the thing on his arms, and he was also being lowered. Do you think there was like a pull in there that was keeping him from like moving his arms, so he couldn't swim?
Probably. Or I think he was hooked on like my mind went to like a crane lowering him into the water. So if you've got that across, even if he was trying to swim, he wouldn't go anywhere. He couldn't go anywhere. Because I think you can see the wires coming down that are holding him up.
But his arms are like straight out, so it is kind of like
Yeah.
Christ-like
Yeah.
imagery. Again, like the cult stuff.
Yeah. So then Chef is like, "Do you hear that? Do you hear that?" And he's like, "It's silence. That means I'm free."
Yeah. And Tyler seems very enamored because we see him at this point.
Yeah. Tyler's just an idiot.
Yeah. He thinks he's all that because he's watched a bunch of cooking shows.
Yeah.
And it was earlier in the movie, but at one point they talk about how they're doing something in the kitchen, and Tyler says, "Oh, I have one of those at home."
Yeah.
Like some fancy.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was called, but yeah. He asks the chef when they get in there if that's what he's using, and he's just one of those people that kind of acts like he knows everything that should be going on in the kitchen.
Okay, so then the alarm goes off.
Mm-hmm.
Because he set the timer, and so Margot has to make a decision.
So she goes to his office to see Chef.
And I want to make a mention here. Earlier in the movie, Richard and Anne were sitting at the table. Anne had looked over and seen Margot and said, "Hey, she looks like our daughter."
Right.
Okay, so now we're in the office.
Which they never explain what happened to their daughter.
Did something happen to the daughter?
Well, I don't know. I got the impression like maybe not. I don't know.
I don't think something did.
Oh, I thought the way they acted, maybe she was gone, but
No, I just think. And you think? Okay, we'll get to it. Okay, so Margot and Slowick are in the office, and Slowick basically reveals he's like, "I know who you are. Like you're a service worker just like me."
Right.
Because we find out she's actually a prostitute.
She's not a prostitute. She's an escort.
Okay.
And the only reason I point that out is because escorts do things like with Tyler, like going to this meal.
Okay.
Like it doesn't have to be sexual stuff.
Okay.
And the only reason I point that out is because not that she didn't do sexual stuff with people, but she didn't, like with Tyler, that's not why she's there. So she's an escort.
But anyway, she's been hired to be here with Tyler.
Right.
And we learn here that Richard was a previous client. And Slowick says something about, "Oh, she seems uncomfortable," and she seems like she knows him. And she reveals that he made her basically do incest play and pretend to be his daughter and tell him he's a good man. I agree
with everything he said, including that she was his daughter. Yeah. And so between Anne's comment and that, I thought maybe something had happened to their daughter.
I don't think so. I just think
that makes it even more sickening. Okay.
I just think Richard's creepy.
Yeah.
Margot decides that she is with the staff, right?
Yes.
So then we go to our next course.
So they take everybody outside.
Yes. And we meet sous chef Catherine Keller.
Mm-hmm. And this course is called Man's Folly.
Yes. And we find out that he didn't do anything directly, right? He didn't
He tried to get her to sleep with him 2 different times.
He asked her multiple times, and she kept refusing his advances. So then he ignored her for months.
He refused to look at her or speak to her for 8 months.
Yeah. So he did. Yes, he was bad, but he did not directly touch her or anything.
Right.
That's what all I was gonna say.
Right.
So, she stabs Slowick in the thigh just like Slowick stabbed his father with scissors.
Right. And I have a question here though. So she wipes blood on his clothes, right? Yes. But she stabbed him with the scissors, so how did she have blood all over her hand?
I don't know.
Okay. I couldn't figure, I'm like, if you stab somebody with scissors, you're not going to have blood You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Unless you stab an artery, but it wasn't squirting.
right.
I don't know.
Okay, I was just curious.
So the men are told that they get a chance to run and hide.
They have a chance to escape.
Yeah.
Which this part was kind of funny too, because Chef says they have a 45-second head start from his chef, so we're gonna chase them. And he's still in the middle of talking, and Dave takes off.
Yeah.
But Tyler doesn't leave. When the other men leave, Tyler doesn't leave. Like, he doesn't want to go.
Yeah, Slowick tells him, you need to hide too.
Yeah. So then the women go back into the restaurant with Catherine.
Yeah, because Catherine says it's cold out here. Let's go in.
Yeah. And so the meal, Man's Folly, is crab with fermented yogurt whey, dried sea lettuce, umbushi, and kelp. And they're all just kind of sitting around talking. The women are just kind of sitting around talking. As the workers are... So we see Dave. He finds a boat, just like a little...
lifeboat.
Thank you.
Like it's a wooden...
Yeah.
Little dinghy.
Yeah. So he's trying to get away in the boat. Richard's running down a dock and he gets tackled.
Yeah.
So we see all of them get caught.
Yeah. And the last one to get caught is Ted, the one that's with the critic.
And he's hiding in the chicken coop.
And he gets a special dish. And it's... Is it like a fermented duck egg?
It's a Possard egg. It's egg with creme fraiche and maple seed flavoring. So to me, it sounds more like a dessert type thing.
Okay.
But
back to the women inside. This is where we learn that Catherine is the one that pitched the idea of everyone dying. And that everyone has to die for the menu to be right. And we also learn that Margot's real name is Erin, which doesn't really come into play, but it's just something we learn.
You find out she's not Margot. She's Erin from Massachusetts.
Yeah. And it really doesn't matter. It doesn't come up, and they continue to refer to her as Margot for the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
But
so I thought it was funny when the guys come back in. I don't know if you caught this or not. Like, all the other guys are kind of like stunned and they're stumbling back to their tables and stuff. And then you got Tyler, who's like, what I miss? And he's over there like scraping the women's bowls because he does not want to miss anything that was cooked. He's just a weird guy.
Yeah. Well, he's dedicated to Slowick. Even before he met him.
I mean, I want to go to Gordon Ramsay's restaurant, but I ain't that obsessed.
Yeah.
So then Chef calls out Tyler and he says, "Why are you here?" And Tyler said, "I was told it was the greatest menu ever created." And Chef says, or he says, "What were you told before you came?" And Tyler says that. And he said, "What else?" And he says that everyone would die tonight. So Tyler has known this whole time.
And he's continuing to eat. He's still scraping the plate as this conversation is going on.
Well, and when he first starts talking to him, Chef even has to tell him to swallow his food.
Yeah.
So he brought Margot there knowing
that
they
were
going to
die. Yeah.
And so he tells them that his date broke up with him. He brought Margot, and Chef says, "Why did you bring her?" And he said, "You don't have seating for one."
Yeah.
So he hired her as an escort, knowing she would die.
Yeah. So obviously Margot is not happy about that.
Right, and she punches him.
Yeah.
Which was not in the original script.
She was supposed to sit there and be quiet in the original script.
Right. And actually, I don't remember who the people were. I didn't write it down, but it was supposed to be a different couple. Like, when they originally cast it, it was supposed to be different people. And they were actually supposed to be Margot. Yes. And they were actually supposed to be a couple.
Yeah.
So then the chef invites Tyler into the kitchen to cook.
Yeah.
But he calls him a cook, not a chef.
Mm-hmm. And then very sloppily writes Tyler on his... They give him like a chef's jacket and very sloppily write Tyler on there. And I wonder if it's written on there sloppily like that on purpose.
I bet it is.
Because they could have wrote it on beforehand before they put it on him, and it probably would have looked better, but they wait till it's on him.
And Tyler's just kind of standing there, and he's just like, "Cook."
Yeah.
And Tyler says, "What?" And he says, "Cook." So then we see Tyler trying to make this fancy meal. And so then his meal is called Tyler's BS.
Yeah, and the whole time Slowick is like, "Oh, very innovative. You're frying it in butter and stuff like that." Like he's making fun of it.
It leaks and
I don't even
something
remember.
in butter.
Yeah.
And then a lamb chop.
Yeah. That's not even cooked all the way through.
So Tyler's BS is undercooked lamb, inedible shallot, leek butter. There we go with shallots and leeks. So inedible shallot, leek butter sauce, utter lack of cohesion.
Yeah.
So then we see the chef just kind of leans over and whispers in Tyler's ear, and we don't know. We never find out what he said to him. But Tyler's kind of crying, and he takes his jacket off, and then he walks to the back.
Yeah. And then this is when Margot gets sent to go get the barrel.
Yes.
So Slowake talks to Margot and says, if you're with the staff, I have something you need to do. Elsa forgot the barrel. Can you go get it from
And
my
Elsa's
quarters?
standing there.
Yeah. And
go get it from the smokehouse.
Smokehouse.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, so she goes to leave, and she goes like back through the kitchen to leave out through the back. And when she's going past, she sees that Tyler has hanged himself.
You think he did that with his tie? Because he was taking his tie off as he walked.
I think so. They never show, but I think that's the implication. Would that support your weight? I don't know.
I don't either.
Um.
So Margot's outside.
Yes.
She's going to the smokehouse.
Yeah.
And Elsa's kind of ticked off because Chef tells her to give Margot the key for the smokehouse so she can go get it, which comes into play a little bit later on. So then George asks Chef why he's there.
Yeah.
And to me, this is funny. Chef said that he had one Sunday off in months, and he went to the theater by himself and watched Calling Dr. Sunshine, and he did not enjoy it.
He could tell that it was just a paycheck for him.
Yeah. So George is like, well, why Felicity? And he looks at her and says, what school did you go to? And she says, Brown. And he says, student loans. And she says, no. And he goes, you're dying.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like he's bucking the hierarchy of...
Yeah, but it also shows you how hypocritical he is.
Yeah.
Because it's like he knew some of the people, but also... It kind of reminds me of Jigsaw, where some of the stuff in Saw, it's like, well, I can understand that. Like, there's the guy that's like, that was like raping girls, and he has to like stab his own eyes out, or that guy. And it's like, okay, that's a little more understandable. And then there's like one guy where it's like, oh, he smoked cigarettes his whole life.
Yeah. And
it's like, what determines what you're doing?
Right. So really, I would say probably out of everybody, other than Margot, Felicity and, well, I mean, she was stealing from him, but Felicity and probably Anne are the two most innocent out of the whole group.
Yeah.
Poor Anne.
I don't know, though. Because the couple both went there, and neither of them could name any of the dishes they'd eaten.
Oh, that's true.
So,
remember. Well, it also could have been because they were under, like, not him, because he's an idiot, but maybe she was under stress.
I mean, yeah, but I don't know.
At least she knew it was a fish.
I don't think any of them deserve to die.
No. Tyler, maybe. Because he took Margot there on purpose. But,
yeah.
So then we go to Margot. She's in the smokehouse and she finds a knife. And one thing we didn't mention earlier, I kind of mentioned it, but when they're doing their tour, I think it's 264 or 284 days is how long they cure the meat for. And one of the bros asks, what happens on the next day? And she goes into this whole long thing about bacteria and like infection, and I mean, she's so serious, but it's such kind of a funny, like, because then she's like, okay, we're moving on, you know, but yeah, so I liked that part.
And every time that Slowik is talking to Margot, you can tell that Elsa's kind of jealous.
Yes, for sure. So she finds the knife in the smokehouse. So then she sneaks over to Chef's house, and she goes inside Chef's house. And one thing I didn't think about, but when I was doing some research later on, his kitchen is set up exactly like the kitchen in the restaurant.
They mention that.
Do they?
Margot mentions it.
Oh.
Maybe she doesn't. Maybe
I don't think she does.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, I did notice that.
Yeah. So
now that you say that, I don't think she does mention it. I think she just walks past it and I noticed it.
Yeah. I just hadn't really thought about it because, the one in the restaurant's got everybody in it all the time. But, so she's in there, and Elsa comes in, and Elsa said no one is supposed to be in Chef's house.
And she also says, and I didn't forget the barrel.
He didn't tell me he needed it.
Yeah.
So they get into a fight.
And does Elsa have the knife?
Yes, because Margot laid it down on the table when she walked in.
So Elsa comes after Margot with the knife, and Margot manages to, while it's still in Elsa's hand, stab Elsa with it.
Right.
She overpowers Elsa, gets her on the ground, and stabs her with the knife that's still in Elsa's hand.
Right.
So then Margot goes in the other room.
And the door to that other room is silver, like the one in the restaurant that we mentioned earlier.
So she goes in there, and there's pictures on the wall from Slowick's life. And she sees one picture that is presumably like his first job or whatever, where he is working in
Howie's Hamburgers.
Yeah, it's a burger joint. He's working as a chef at a burger joint.
But if you watch the pictures, like, it's kind of the progression of his life. Like, he had a wife and a baby, and then they're just gone. Like, they're gone from his life, and then he's just alone on this island, running the restaurant. That's his whole life. So you can tell as the pictures go on, like, he gets sadder, more sad, and more depressed as they go on. But the one that Dawson mentioned,
he's
when
like
he's
smiling
burgers, he's really happy and laughing. And I kind of wondered though if that's a real picture of Ralph Fiennes when he was younger.
I don't know.
I was curious about that.
I'm not sure. But she looks at these pictures and notices them for a second, and she specifically looks at the burger one, and then she notices a radio.
A CB radio.
Yes.
And she calls for help. Which one thing I thought was kind of cool was they actually show it on channel 16, which is the maritime channel, or the marine channel, it said it was a VH something. I didn't write it down. But a different kind of radio, but channel 16 on a CB is unused.
Oh.
Which we'll explain that in a minute. But so she thinks she calls for help.
She gets in contact with the Coast Guard.
Yeah. So then we go back to the restaurant.
And she brings the barrel.
And she comes in and like kicks the barrel down the stairs.
Yeah. And is this when they hear the Coast Guard approaching? So they hear the Coast Guard approaching, so they all the chefs try to make the guests look like they're okay. Like they cover up the blood and all that.
They tuck because of course Margot's got blood on her from Elsa, so they tuck a napkin in her dress and they give Richard a sling to cover up his bloody hand, and one of them's dabbing the blood off of Dave's nose.
I did notice, I thought it was really cool, that the wrapping he puts over his finger after his finger gets cut off gets progressively bloodier. Because when they first put it on, there's like not much on it, and then later when we see him outside during the hide and seek, it's like soaked in blood.
Yeah. They did a really good job with all of that. So then our Coast Guard guy, Dale, comes in.
Yes. And is it Margot that slips him the note?
No.
Who is it? Okay.
Yeah, so...
Oh, he asked for an autograph.
So the chef is just like, I'm sorry, you've interrupted kind of an intimate dinner, and he's like, well, somebody called for help, and chef's like, no, nobody would have, and somebody threatens him before he comes in and says that that the Coast Guard guy would die if they said anything.
Yeah.
So then Dale sees George and he asks for his autograph. He's like, oh my gosh, I'm such a big fan. And George is like, well, I don't have a pen. And Chef's like, well, we do. So he hands him his signature, but it actually says, help us.
Yeah.
And I'll let you talk. I feel like I've talked way more than you have.
So the Coast Guard guy pulls out his gun and gets Slowick down on the floor on his knees. And right as you're like, oh crap, he's going to shoot him, he puts the gun over and pulls the trigger, and it's a lighter, and it lights a candle that's on the table. And we find out the Coast Guard is not actually the Coast Guard. And it was just someone in disguise. And apparently, I didn't notice this, but I saw people saying it. Apparently, the guy that is the Coast Guard, from what I've read, is both in one of the photos in the background in the chef's house, and is one of the chefs that's in the background at the beginning of the movie when they're all in the kitchen.
Oh.
Apparently.
Huh. I didn't know that. That's interesting. I'll have to watch it. Look for that next time we watch it. But so, this scene is kind of tense because he's got the gun pointed at Chef, and then he kind of just slowly turns it, and everyone's like, "What are you doing? No, he's the bad guy. Like, take him out." And then he points it at Margot, and hers is the table with the candle that he lights the candle on.
So this all happens, and is this when Margot like claps to get everyone's attention?
Chef tells Margot that she betrayed them, that she's a taker, and she's not one of the, like, she's with the
not
people,
staff,
right? So then she claps.
And she says, "I'm not satisfied. I haven't liked anything given me."
So she says she doesn't like the food and she wants to send it back.
She wants a real cheeseburger.
Yeah. Well, hang on, because I got a quote. She says, "You've taken the joy out of eating. Every dish you've served tonight has been some intellectual exercise rather than something you want to sit and enjoy. You cook with obsession, not love. You failed, and you bored me, and the worst part is I'm still fucking hungry."
So, does Slowick ask her if she wants anything to eat, or does she just say she wants a cheeseburger?
No, he asks what she's hungry for.
Okay. And she says a cheeseburger, and she says not a deconstruction of a cheeseburger or anything, just a plain old cheeseburger.
And so he asked her, what kind of cheese. And this is something that, back on the emulsion that he gave to Lily, and this is why I think he did it on purpose, because when they're talking about the cheese, he mentions that American cheese is the perfect burger cheese because it melts but it doesn't split.
Yeah.
So we see Chef making this burger for her.
And this is the only time the food is filmed in a way that feels genuine. Like, it feels like someone is enjoying what they're doing.
Right, and he starts to smile. Like, his face starts to...
Because everything else feels so clinical.
Right. And it kind of is because you've got all of your chefs. I mean...
Yeah. Slowick cooks the burger by himself.
Right, and when you're looking at this kitchen, you've got the kitchen on both sides, and then down the middle is kind of the prep table.
Yeah.
And you've basically got a chef for every guest.
It's like Hell's Kitchen.
Right, like they're prepping each... Yeah. So, but they're all in sync. Like, when he claps, they all stand up. They all say, "Yes, chef," at the same time.
And there's at one point he says, "I love you all," and they all say, "I love you, chef," in unison.
Yeah, that's toward the end.
Yeah.
So we see Chef making this cheeseburger.
Yeah, and it's filled with love.
Smiling.
Yeah, and you can see he's happy.
And I think it's so funny. She says, "And how much will that set me back?" And he says, $9.95. And she said, "Does that come with fries?" And I just think that whole exchange, like, we finally see something that makes him happy.
Yeah. So she takes a bite of the burger and says, "My eyes were bigger than my stomach."
She takes a bite, and I'm not arguing with you, but because she goes, now that is a cheeseburger.
Yeah. But then she says, "My eyes are bigger than my stomach."
And his face just kind of falls. Like, you can tell he's just heartbroken that she's not going to eat the burger. And watching that movie, I thought a lot about my nephew. For those who are listening, he's getting ready to go to culinary school. And there's just so much joy when he cooks. And that's what I felt like watching the chef do this cheeseburger. Like, I could see that in my nephew because that's what he loves to do. And it would break my heart if he ever got to the point where it was just a job.
Yeah.
So Margot says, "Can I get the rest to go?"
Yeah. So he gets a to-go bag, puts her burger in it, and she walks out.
And I have to say, though, that is a very good-looking cheeseburger.
It is.
And one thing I saw said that all of the other food in the movie is prop food, so they couldn't eat it.
Yeah.
Only her cheeseburger was real. And everybody was so hungry when she was eating that cheeseburger that the director stopped filming and ordered Five Guys burgers and fries for everybody because they all wanted cheeseburgers. But I thought it was kind of cool because she turns around as she's leaving, and Richard's wife motions for her to go.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, "Just get out. Like, you need to go."
Well, and one thing I thought about too is, I wonder if Elsa was still alive, if Elsa would have stopped Chef from letting her leave.
I don't know, because she kind of did what Chef wanted. So.
I know, but also she was jealous of Margot and didn't like her, so she wouldn't want her to live.
That's true. I don't know. So, I didn't catch this. I didn't think about this until last night, because I watched this movie probably 5 times. George turns to Felicity and says, I told you you weren't leaving me. He knew they were going to die there.
I don't think he knew.
You don't think so? You don't think he knew like Tyler?
No. I don't think he did.
I think he did. Maybe he didn't. But he was a washed up actor who didn't really have much of a future, and I think he knew.
I don't know. I don't think he did.
I think he did. And that's why he kept telling her, you're not leaving me, you're not going anywhere. So, we're finally to dessert.
Yes.
The final course.
And what Slowick says, it's a s'more. It's a deconstructed s'more. And what Slowick says here, I guess, is based off of the actor. The actor didn't know what a s'more was. And when he was told what a s'more was, he was like, only Americans know what a s'more is. And thought it was like the most terrible thing ever. And so the thing he talks about here, I guess, is like mostly ad-libbed based off of his actual opinion of a s'more.
He said it's the most offensive assault on the human palate ever contrived. But I want to back up for a minute, because before they do dessert, he says there's the little issue of the bill.
Yeah.
And they all just like throw their credit cards out there. Like, really? You're going to die and you're going to pay for the food anyway?
It's very funny. It's very dry humor. They all throw their credit cards out in the middle of the table.
And then he gives them tells them not to forget their gift bag. And there's granola in there, and then one of Varric's fingers is in there. Which, there were 11 guests to begin with, and Tyler died, so there would have been enough fingers for everybody.
Yeah.
But, so they give everyone a shawl made of marshmallows. They put them on there, and they give
hats made of chocolate.
Yep, a chocolate hat.
And even before I'm not going to say that, but the chocolate starts to melt even just when it's put on their forehead before anything else.
Yes, I noticed that. So, with the most offensive thing that he said, then he says that we can purify all that with the flame, and that we all need to embrace the flame.
Because it's all just processed food, and you put a bunch of processed foods together, and it's good.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
And I guess this was based off of an actual, artist chef who makes dishes that look like how this looks from above. And they spent, weeks figuring out, reverse engineering how it would look at the end with all the swoops and stuff, because they put stuff all over the floor.
Yeah. Huh. So then we flip to Margot on the boat, and we see her trying to get the boat started. He gets it started, and we go back to the restaurant, and Chef says we can be consumed and made anew, and he sets the restaurant on fire, starting with himself.
Yeah, he picks up a coal in the kitchen, like a hot coal in his hand, and comes over, talks for a little bit, and then drops it.
Yeah. Which the barrel that she brought had the flammable stuff in it, right? That's what she brought into the restaurant.
Because it explodes.
Yeah. So we're back to Margot. She's on the boat. She sees the restaurant explode.
She eats her cheeseburger and then wipes her mouth with a menu from the restaurant.
Yeah. And I thought it was so funny because throughout the movie, when there's a course, it'll pop up and it'll say what the first course, and it'll tell you exactly what's in the dish. Did you catch what the s'more one says? Marshmallow, chocolate, graham cracker, customers, staff, restaurant.
I did not see that.
Yeah. So Margot sits there eating her cheeseburger as she watches the restaurant burn. So some things that I found as I was doing some research on this movie. Chef said there were no substitutes allowed.
Yeah.
Margot was a substitute. So maybe that's part of the reason she got to live was because she was a substitute. Yeah. And there were no substitutes in his restaurant. In his dishes, so she wouldn't have been in his dish. Another one said that the people in the restaurant represent the 7 deadly sins.
People say that about everything.
Well, you've got greed with the corporate guys. This one actually made sense, because there's greed with the corporate guys, gluttony with Tyler, because all he wanted was the food, lust with Richard, envy with George, because he was envious of more successful people, pride with Lillian, wrath with Julian and the chef, and then the sloth with Slowick's mom.
I still feel like that's a little bit of a stretch.
I think they're all pretty good except for the last two. Like as far as the customers,
But
I
that
feel like
always
that
happens.
I feel like the customers they pretty much nailed it.
Anytime there's enough characters that they can say, "Oh, these characters are Seven Deadly Sins," will say it for anything.
Yeah.
They do it for SpongeBob and. Or it's like if there's four, they're the four horsemen of the apocalypse. It doesn't matter who they are.
So,
and there's always a couple that don't fit.
Yeah. So one more thing that I found, and this may be because I'm a true crime junkie, and like this may be one of the coolest things I found. So, Chef Slowick is from Waterloo, Iowa.
Okay.
John Wayne Gacy was from Waterloo, Iowa. They both had alcoholic dads. They both grew up in abusive households. Chef began with burgers, and his last meal that he cooked was a burger. John Wayne Gacy's first job was at a KFC, and his final meal before he died on death row was KFC and french fries. So I thought those were kind of cool.
Do we hear about any other locations in the movie? We hear that Erin's from Missouri, but she doesn't say where, right?
Yeah, she's from Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
I don't think we do. And we're on Hawthorne Island. I think that's... we don't even know where Hawthorne Island's at. But I thought it was kind of cool because there's different restaurants around the world where you actually go and there's only one way to get there. Or
I do think
like the exclusive menus and stuff. So
but I did think it was funny that at the end she has that menu that she wipes her mouth with, because why would they have a menu?
He actually mentions that they're in the gift bag.
Okay. So is it just it's what they made that day?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But Chef mentions that's one of the things in the gift bag. Because I know there's granola, there's something else, and then his finger.
Yeah.
Which I wonder if she had a finger in her gift bag.
I don't know. I wonder what Tyler's girlfriend did that she should have been there. Like, you think she was just collateral, like, kind of like Anne and Felicity were? Or do you think she did something? And
I would say she's probably just collateral.
I wonder if the reason she broke up with Tyler is because Tyler let it slip that they were going to die.
See,
and that's why she didn't tell Margot.
The first time I watched it, I thought that he loved her so much he left her behind, but he does say she broke up with me.
Yeah. So I wonder if he let slip that they were all going to die.
I don't know, he might have. But I can't, like, I'm a foodie and I love, like I've told you before, my bucket list of people I want to meet are chefs and authors, not football players and, actors, but there's no chef that I would want to go eat their food and pay $1,500 or $1,200 for to die.
Yeah.
There's nobody.
Yeah. Yeah, but Tyler is not all there.
Tyler's something.
Yeah. He's completely dedicated his life to Slowick, it seems like. Like, he knows he's going to die, so at this point he's really dedicating the rest of his life to Slowick.
Well, and Slowick even says at one point that they've been communicating for 8 months.
Yeah.
And then, like you mentioned earlier, Lillian got a private invitation, like a personal invitation from the chef, and he brings that up too at one point, that she thinks she's so high and mighty that she...
Slowick is the kind of guy that's not lenient with mistakes at all. And so I think that's why Margot threw him so much.
Yeah. I think the substitute had a lot to do with it too.
I think everything was planned.
Yeah.
Which makes me wonder what Tyler's girlfriend did deserve to be there.
But what did Anne do to deserve to be there?
She didn't remember any of the dishes either. They were just a rich couple that came all the time and didn't even remember what was served.
Well, that's true. I don't know.
Felicity is the only one that I feel like
kind of innocent, but she did say she was stealing money from him.
Yeah. No one's really innocent in the movie, but also Slowick's reasoning is very
shallow.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of all over the place. I didn't like your movie. I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, he's kind of narcissistic.
But Ralph Fiennes does a phenomenal job in this movie.
We say that all the characters are, like, unlikable. They're all likable characters. Like, even, like, I don't really think there's characters in this movie that I, like, hate. Right. Like, they all serve their purpose and stuff.
Right.
And Slowick and Elsa are two of my favorite characters.
But they're made to be not Slowick and Elsa, but the characters are made to be unlikable. I mean, that's the point of pretty much everybody in there. I did not like Lillian. Out of all of them, she's probably my least favorite. I mean, as a character, she's great. Like, the actress did a fantastic job. But as a person, I'd kick her in the face.
Yeah.
What did my niece say the other day? I'd beat her up with one hit. She's talking about some girl stealing her bunny rabbit.
Yeah.
But she said she'd beat her up with one hit.
Well, it's even like, I do not like the Finance Bros, and if I ever met them in real life, I would not want to be around them. But they're some of my favorite characters in the movie because they have such funny interactions.
Yeah. And they fit. Like, it's a good group of
Yeah.
people to have together. Yeah. So, overall, I give it 5 dishes out of 5.
5 Michelin stars.
There you go. I don't know if you can get 5 Michelin stars.
I think it's 3.
I think it's 3. Not your typical horror movie that we're going to talk about. It's kind of more of a psychological, I guess.
Yeah.
Kind of.
It's not like a jump scare. It's not... I don't know. Like you said, it's like psychological.
Yeah. But there's some really suspenseful parts in it.
Yeah. And it's a really good movie overall.
It is.
And the twists, if you don't know them going into it, hit you like a truck.
And, you know, even, this is, like I said, probably my 5th time watching the movie, like,
you notice
I still enjoyed it so much.
And you notice new things.
Yeah. Like, I just, I don't think it's a movie I'll ever get tired of watching. But it's, you know, we've talked about some that are just kind of fun movies. And to me, this is more of a mind twisty, like, you kind of have to think a little bit deeper on this one than what we've talked about before.
But it's still not heavy.
Right. But you just have to kind of look for those clues about Slowick. And, you know, it's not a movie like we've talked about some before that you could just put on in the background and not pay attention to what's going on and kind of just look up and...
A lot of the movies we said are like fun ones just to have like at a party and stuff.
Yeah.
This one is like one to sit down and actually watch.
Yeah. And it's got a lot of hate, and I don't really understand why it's gotten a lot of hate.
It's got a lot of praise too.
Well, yeah, but...
I think the reason it's got a lot of hate, from what I've seen a lot of people say, is because people don't think it's a horror movie because it's not a jump scare fest. Because I really do think that's an issue with a lot of modern horror, is it's all just jump scare after jump scare.
Yeah. But as far as, like, this is a movie that kind of sticks with you because, I mean, we don't go into a whole lot of political, environmental stuff on here, but some of the things, like, that he stands for and that he's realized, like, he doesn't want to be that corporate person anymore. Like, I think it's pretty deep.
But I still think a lot of the stuff he says is very hypocritical. Because, like, he says all this stuff about nature, but it's like he...
But see, I think he's realized that. Like, I kind of think he's realized that, and that's why he's like, I'm just done. Like, if he gets, you know, if he would have walked away from the restaurant, somebody else would have taken it over.
Doesn't Margaret at one point say, why don't you work at a soup kitchen then? Or is that from a deleted scene?
I think that, I don't remember that, so maybe it's a deleted scene.
I feel like that's a deleted scene.
It must be, because I don't remember that. But, all around good movie. Highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Next week...
we might be doing Mad God.
Yes.
If Mom thinks there's enough there to do.
So, if not, we'll move on to something else.
Yeah.
And then, very exciting news for our book for this month. I will actually be sitting down with the author in a couple weeks to do a one-on-one interview with him.
And that book is 7 Rabbits by Timothy King.
Yes. So, if you have any questions you want Timothy to answer that are just, you know, burning questions you can't wait to find out what he has to say, let me know in the comments.
It will be past that time.
I know, I just realized that. So, cut that out.
Well, you talk to him sometimes though, don't you? So if you have any questions, she can message him and ask.
Yeah. But seriously, check out 7 Rabbits. It is a slasher novel. Kind of, sort of modern day Scream would be the best way to describe it. Very gory. Trigger warnings if...
We'll put them on the video.
Yeah. So, but seriously, check this book out. I seriously think Timothy is going to be the next big thing in horror book writers.
Yeah.
He's only been writing for, I think, about 1.5 years, and he's already got 6 books out, and another one comes out in a couple weeks.
He's going to be the next Stephen King.
That's funny, because everybody teases him about being his long-lost nephew. But anyway, thank you for listening to us talk about the menu, and we will see you next week.
And I'll probably talk more next week.